Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another real-time drawing episode. And today we're going to be working on a character from Borderlands. I really love this game, and maybe I'll do like a series of characters from the game. But today we're going to be drawing... Ooh, maybe I should have looked up how to pronounce her name first. I don't know if it's Lilith or Lilith. It's been too long since I played. I'm going to call her Lilith because that sounds right. But she is a character from the game. One of the 4 playable characters. And I'm going to draw her. From the moment I started messing around with watercolor paint, it started reminding me of Borderlands. Just the art, the whole art style of that game. I feel like it could be recreated very nicely in watercolor, and I feel like it'd be fairly successful and fun. So I'm gonna sketch her out. I have my reference image right here in front of me, so I can try and get the proportions right, which is always the funnest part. That's sarcasm, if you didn't notice. And I'll go ahead and sketch her out, and I'll probably just time-lapse this because I need to concentrate. And talking and drawing isn't the easiest of things to do. Hey guys, this is Future Pinsetter. I'm recording this a few days after I filmed it. And I'm just editing it now, and I figured, hey, I could throw in some narration and keep it real time, you know. First off, it's out of focus, so bam, there we go. Now it's back in focus. I realized that partway through filming it, so I focused it better. But anywho, I'm just gonna chat with you guys for a little bit. That way you don't all get angry and try to start a riot against me. Because I know a lot of you really like the real-time drawings and you don't like it when I time-lapseify it. So we could chat, I guess. I like chatting with you guys. You guys are pretty cool. Let's talk about everything I'm using to make sure that that's all clear. I put my pencil down. Here, let me skip forward a little bit. Hang on. There we go. Bet you guys are pretty impressed with my editing skills, aren't you? So, I'm just gonna... I have my mic hooked up, and as I'm doing this voiceover, my computer is rendering stuff, so you guys might hear my computer fan in the background. Hopefully that doesn't get too annoying. But anyways, we were talking about the materials that I'm using. So this pencil I'm using, just a mechanical pencil. It's a Zebra brand, and I think I've got it lying around here somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. It is M301 is the model number on that. So pretty standard mechanical pencil, and you really don't have to use a mechanical pencil for this. I just like how it's always sharp. So it's nice for thin lines, because later on we're going to outline this entire thing with micron pencils or micron markers, and it's nice to have thin lines to work with. Yeah, my computer's getting loud, you guys. It's because it's working hard. It's not that old. This computer's probably 3 or 4 years old, but it's a lot of footage to process, you know, and it's high definition, so it's a little bit hard on it, so it starts to heat up. The paper I'm using is Strathmore, I believe is the brand. It's a cold press watercolor paper, and I don't use cold press very often. It's been actually, this is my first time painting on cold press, I believe. Everything else I use is usually hot press, which is smoother. I really like the Arches hot press watercolor paper. very smooth. It's made out of cotton. It's just nice. And I like to draw on it because of how smooth it is. But you can see the texture on this stuff. The cold presses has got some serious texture to it, but I like it. And it kind of adds to the Borderlands feel because it's kind of just a rough environment and dirty, dusty. What I'm doing now is my reference image is, what is it, 6 inches? 1, 2, I can't see, my hand's in the way. Move it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 inches. So my reference image was 6 inches tall. So I put markers, marking out all those, 6 inches. And that way I could use that to line things up. I know where top of her head is, where her chin is, where her arms are, elbows, hips, knees. Actually, it doesn't really go down to the knees. This is from like knees up. But you see, I labeled that really quick. I gotta recount that. My hand wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's 8 inches. So my camera's zoomed in a little bit, so you can't see the bottom one. But anywho, so that's how tall my reference image was, and I wanted to keep it about that size. And makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to scale anything up. So I'm just doing very basic outline, and one of the techniques I use a lot, all the time, is I just use my fingers to measure. I'll put my finger up to the reference image and just kind of judge the distance between my I'm not filming this right now, so I can't really show you guys what I do, but you'll see eventually. I use the ruler a little bit. That's what I'm doing right now, but I also use my fingers. So it's my thumb and my index finger, and I just measure distances and figure out kind of how tall they are, or the space between the chin and the hair, or the chin and her shirt, or whatever. I just try to get all those distances measured out correctly, because it's hard. This is the part that takes a lot of time. See, I'm drawing a line going down the middle of her face. That way I can line up the nose and separate the eyes nicely. That's always difficult too, especially on small, tiny little characters like this. That's why I like drawing portraits like big. Because when I first started drawing portraits, I figured it would be easier to draw them really small, but that is not true, especially with charcoal, because I was doing it with charcoal, and that's just a mess. If you've got mechanical pencils and micron markers that are really fine tip, you can pull it off, but it's a little bit difficult, and it's kind of hard to line everything up. But anyways, that's all I'm doing. I think I've explained that pretty well, and you guys might be getting kind of bored by now. So now I am going to skip forward a little bit, and I will be right back. Okay, welcome back. Lighting change. It's daytime now. I was working on this thing for I don't even know how long last night, but I got tired, went to sleep, and here we are, day 2, starting back up on it. So my window's open, there's sun out now, and it's probably a little bit brighter. But I pretty much have her all lined out, or outlined. And now I'm going to go over those outlines with ink. So I'm using a Micron Pigma, and I have a few ranging from 0.5. This is a 0.3, and then the smallest I have is a 0.05, which is a super fine point. So I'll be switching between these just to get thicker and thinner lines. And I still need to put her lips in and work out a few more details, but I figured I'd go over it with the pens to start. Just start outlining some of these that I am happy with. So yeah, the whole figure drawing process is kind of tedious. Takes a while. Some people are really good at it, especially people that are really into drawing manga, anime characters and all that stuff. They usually get really fast at drawing figures, but I never got into that. I did get a book by Mark Curley, Mastering Manga. You guys have probably heard of Mark Curley. He's super famous on YouTube. Actually, one of my friends is letting me borrow that book, so she's really into manga drawing, and I wanted to check it out, so I'm borrowing it from her. And you know, it covers everything that has to do with basic figure drawing. At least, you know, you learn how to draw people, body types, all this stuff. Manga is a little bit, it's definitely unique. The style, you know, the proportions, the eyes are always kind of big, but he actually goes over, there are differences in eye size, like this. This is still considered manga, but it's a more realistic manga, and her eyes are pretty dang normal sized. And then there's this extremely cartoony manga with the giant eyes. So I've been flipping through here and just learning a little bit. Goes over all kinds of stuff though. It's a very good book. But I never really got into it. I mean, I took one life drawing class, which I definitely learned a lot on how to draw figures. But that was a while ago, a few years back. It's probably been 5 years. And I haven't been practicing, so I'm kind of slow at it. But I took my time on it, you know. You can see these markers that I put every inch. So she's 8 inches tall, and I've got my reference image that I'm going off of, and just kind of measuring things out and making sure I got the proportions right. And now we're gonna go over it with the Pigma pen, and then I'll be able to erase away some of this lead. Alright, so we're gonna fast forward through some of this. My head gets in the way through most of it anyways, or through a lot of it. But I'm just, you know, outlining everything. And you gotta be careful with this part because you can't erase this stuff. But it's not too difficult. And once I'm done with that, I will switch back to real time here. I take a piece of Frisket film, which is, most of you guys have probably seen me use it in my other videos. It's like sticker paper, but it's a low tack, so it doesn't stick that strongly to the paper, so it won't damage your paper or tear it. But I cover her with a section of that, and then I take a scalpel and I just cut along all the edges to just cut out her shape so that she stays there. So I'll go ahead and skip forward to me doing that. Alright, so you can see it's coming off very easily with the scalpel. So basically she has this thin layer of plastic over her and the rest of the paper is exposed. So now we're gonna skip back to past me. So basically, I did all the outlining. I erased away all the pencil marks, and then I covered her with a layer of Frisket film, which is like sticker paper, but it's very low tack, so you can peel it off. Is anyone else getting deja vu here? I'm gonna skip ahead again. I think I'm gonna go with browns, and since she's a girl, maybe throw in some of this red here, or maybe a bluish, make it kind of a purple. But Borderlands, the whole world of Borderlands, in the first game at least, or the first area that you're in, is very brown and very dry and kind of deserty until much later in the game, or once you get into the second game, Borderlands 2, then you start getting into more lush areas. But I like the browns, and I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So we're gonna start by just wetting the paper, and as you can see, it's nice having her masked out. I don't have to worry about getting paint on her. And I did stretch this paper, which is I soaked it in water previously, and that should keep it from buckling too bad, which can get annoying. It's starting to a tiny bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Oops. All right. Okay, let's start adding a wee bit of color. We'll start with the brown. In a second, I'm going to start talking about a sculpture that I was working on at the time I was filming this. Because originally I had a clip showing some progress that I was making on him. But I'm going to make that its own separate video, so you guys can just kind of ignore this part. So far, watercolor has been my favorite way of adding color. I mean, there's lots of options out there. Oh, my alarm's going off. Oof, I gotta remember that. I have that zombie that that I started the episode with, that weird looking clay figure. He's in the oven right now baking. So it's on a very low heat setting, so he should be fine, but I gotta go check on him pretty soon. That was my alarm going off. Alright. So a little bit more brown down here. That's looking pretty good already. I just want a nice background, and I want it to look a little bit splashy, I think, so I'll probably end up doing some spattering. So I'm gonna take the brush and load a lot of brown into it, very watered down, and then we can do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then we'll get all this brown out of the brush. We'll get some of this red here. Water it way down. And I'll probably spatter it too, but we could add just a little bit around. I don't know what the names of these colors are, unfortunately. They're not labeled. So I've had people comment and ask, what color are you using? And I got no idea. It's a Van Gogh brand pocket box paint set. But it doesn't actually like have anything labeled, because all of these little trays are actually removable, which is pretty cool. So if you run out of one, you can replace it. Main problem is I haven't found where they sell replacements. So I was looking around online and I wasn't getting very good results. I think I'll mix some white in with this and do some spattering like so. And this is going to be cropped, so the borders will probably be around there. Okay, that's not too bad. Do some more spattering. So yeah, the paper's warping a little bit, but once it dries, it should go back down pretty flat. I might mix in some of this lighter brown. Yeah, that's a pretty good color. Looks Borderlands-y. Some more water in there. A little more contrast around her head. And one more thing I'm gonna do is just add more water, and then we're gonna take some salt. This is Mediterranean sea salt. And we're going to sprinkle some of that on here. Just like so, to make it nice and tasty. And there you go. It's ready to eat. I'm just kidding. You guys are going to see what the salt does. It's very cool. It actually absorbs the water. So it makes some interesting little snowflakey designs. So we will let that background dry, and then we will come back to this. Stick around. Alright, we are back. So, I let this dry. It's still a little bit wet, so it's still kind of bowed out a little bit. And I did remove the frisket film, and unfortunately, we got some leakage going on. But it's not a huge deal because it's pretty close to her flesh tone, and with the whole style of Borderlands and splashiness going on, I don't really care. But it is a little bit annoying because I did do a test with the frisket film earlier off to the side. I put a piece down, put watercolor paint over it, let it dry, removed it, and I got no leakage. But on this one, I think I must have put more water when I did her background than I did with the test. So I think the extra water is what made it seep under. So the frisket film works if you're not going to use a ton of water, but if you use a lot, then you're definitely going to want to use the masking fluid, something like this, or like this Grumbacher liquid frisket stuff. So, but yeah, I just wanted to try it out with the masking paper, and I learned something new. Doesn't work all the time if you're using a lot of water. But anyways, we're about ready to start adding in some details on her. So let me grab my paint box, and I think I'll just start and go top to bottom, perhaps. So we can start with her hair, which is kind of a pinkish color. Gotta get some of this stuff out of my way. I'm doing like 2 projects at once because I've got my my sculpture that's due in a few days, so I'm trying to get it done. So we put down a base coat. This is pretty much the lightest color. And then I'll start adding in the darker ones. Hey, future me again. So that's pretty much the entire process that I use throughout this painting. I do a base coat with a very washed out, watered down color. So her hair was pink, but it also had some dark like purples in it. So I obviously don't want to start with the darkest because that's going to start smearing around and bleeding into the other colors. So it's good to start with your light colors, and sometimes you need to let those light colors dry before you start adding in darker colors, but you don't always have to. Like you can see now, I'm starting to get a little bit darker, but I'm just adding it where I want it to go, because when watercolor paint is still wet, it starts spreading and mixing with the other colors that you use, and it's a really cool effect actually. That's why I really like using it. Once you get used to the way it blends together when you add new colors, it just becomes really fun because it's cool to experiment and see how those colors mix together. So I'll be skipping around a little bit because, you know, overall this drawing took me like 3 hours or 4 hours to finish, and I don't want to make this video ridiculously long, so I'll keep skipping a little bit, but stick around. All right, so just did the finishing touches, and now we are done. I apologize for having to skip around a lot there. Like I said, I don't want to make these videos ridiculously long. It's already at 33 minutes, so that's getting up there. So if you have any questions, just comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody who's subscribed. Since my last video, real-time video, which was about a week ago, I've gotten over 70 subscribers, which is awesome. So thank you all for subscribing. And if this video helped you at all, please leave a like below and keep an eye out for my future videos. I make them a couple times a week. Alright guys, see you next time.